This piece is one of my latest summer works, themed around illusory dust. This one is called In the Depths of Glimmer. Why do I call it In the Depths of Glimmer? Actually, every person lives along the trajectory of time, past, present, and future. The future, when it arrives, will become our past. How do we form and reach this present moment? And how do we, in the present, think about the future while living in the now? What do we use for this? We use what we call wisdom. Wisdom comes from the heart and from experience. Let's suppose for a moment that we are individuals, humans. Between people, it seems like we are all separate, one by one by one. Why does this sense of self, this ego, exist? It's because there is a kind of clash or impact between people. But if we now rise above to a very high vantage point outside of time, at a cosmic height, like the main point of Bangkok looking down from a central point in time, what do we see then? We see that everything appears as a hazy layer of fine dust, just like sunlight streaming down. Within that thin layer of sand, you see clusters of dust. Now, what Chenke captures is like an illusion. Depending on the angle from which your consciousness observes, you perceive different opposite images and illusions. This is what I refer to as the subtle light of the mind. Our subtle light is the intelligence within our hearts, our mind waves. These mind waves are actually wisdom, the wisdom within our hearts. This wisdom is constantly shifting and generating within us. In the clarity produced by the contrasts of the 5 external colors and the so-called 6 senses and 6 sense objects, the wisdom at the core of our minds remains unmoved. But why does it seem unmoved? It's actually moving, but we don't realize it because we are constantly being turned by these so-called 6 senses and 6 sense objects from the outside. It's like a lantern that keeps spinning. Our minds spin along with it. But when our minds remain still while the scene is moving, this is the depth of subtle light, the wisdom at the core of our hearts. We call this topics, which refers to profound and mysterious wisdom. At this point, you are no longer swayed by external scenes. This is what in the Hinayana tradition is called thought mind. The thought in thought mind refers to thinking. When you reach a certain state, it means you have attained a liberated nirvana. But to resolve our heart's wisdom, we must one by one look beyond the external scenes. When you observe these so-called 5 colors from outside the scene, this will arise. What is this called? That is called external influence. The effect of that external influence is that we see our mind is unmoved, but the environment is constantly changing. This is what we call in Mahayana the Bodhisattva path. The environment changes, but the mind remains. Not the mind changes, while the environment remains. So, I call this, when you descend, you see many things. 5 different colors arise, but as you look deeper, there are more and more things in your mind. That's basically how it is.